Welcome to CMM 325, Computer-Mediated Communication for Spring 2018. What you see in front of you is what we call the home page. Anytime you log into the course, this is the first page that you will see. But if you're watching this video, that means you have already navigated over here to the Start Here folder. The Start Here folder has a bunch of information, so please plan on spending a little bit of time in this folder to make sure that you understand all of the information. Obviously, the first thing there is this video. There's not one there right now because I'm currently recording it. But once this is up there, that'll be one of the very first things you see in this folder. Below that, each of these folders contains specific information that's going to make your life easier. The first one is called Online Learning Introduction. If this is your first online class, take a little bit of time in looking in this folder. It has some tips and tricks to make your online learning experience better. Below that, we have the Find Help when you need it. This will lead you to some specific videos that Blackboard has created on how to navigate their system. Again, if you're not used to this environment, it could be very useful for you. Below that, there is information on how to submit an assignment. There's even a space there for you to test your own ability to submit an assignment. It's not graded, but it is just a way for you to make sure that you know how to do this before you do have to do the ones that are graded. The next one is this Use Discussion Board. I do want to spend a few seconds in that one. First thing you're going to see here is you're going to see some information on instructions for using the discussion board. These are going to link you to some videos that are going to be designed to help you do this. Below that, there is Understanding Discussion Posts. I give you specific information here, so please make sure that you read this document right here. I'm going to highlight it just so you make sure you look at it. That full disclosure on discussions. Please make sure that you look at that. Right below that, there is Setting Your Discussion Image. This is going to tell you how to upload an image so that whenever you're discussing with your peers, it'll have a little picture of you attached to it versus just a name. It just makes things a little bit more personal in this environment. Then you're going to have your very first discussion question, which is what I call the orientation, introduce yourself question. Basically, you're going to provide a short biography along with a picture of yourself. Again, it's just to help us get to know one another. Below there is the discussion board rubric. The discussion board rubric basically lets you know how on a weekly basis for each discussion question that I pose, how you are going to be evaluated. In some weeks, there will only be one discussion post. In others, there are two discussion posts. It does not matter if there is one or if there is two, the same directions apply. So this right here, the rubric is only going to be used to evaluate one discussion section. So if I have like the very first one right above it, the introduce yourself. Now this one is not graded, but if this was graded, that is one discussion question. And so this rubric would apply to all of your answers in that one discussion. This is important because there are a couple things to watch out for here. The first one, your initial posts on any given discussion week are due on Thursday at 11:59 p.m. So you cannot wait until Sunday and try to do all of this. Your first posts are due on Thursday at 11:59 p.m. If you wait until Sunday, you're going to lose 10% of your grade right off the bat. Then you have to have at least 2 or more responses to get 100% on your discussion grade. Those are what we call your peer responses. So the initial response is the one where you answer whatever question it is that I have posed. The peer responses, which again you have to have 2 of these for any discussion question, is when you respond to your peers. Now, there are a couple other things to make sure that you pay attention to. Of course, make sure that you're using course material in your first post. Make sure that you're having critical analysis. When it comes to it, again, we already talked about timeliness. Make sure that you have a substance in your responses, so it's not just statements like, I like it, or great idea. The quantity we already talked about. Writing mechanics, basically you do need to use good grammar here. And of course the last one is APA style. In any of the discussions and any of the papers, you are required to use APA style. One thing I will point out right over here, again on the left hand side of the page, is this APA style tutorial and quiz. You are required to take this. It's going to open it right here, and it's a tutorial. It's going to walk you through the basics of APA style. And then right below that is a quiz that you are required to take. It is 35 items. You can take that quiz as many times as you need to pass and get the grade that you want. So let's go back over here to the Start Here folder. The one right below that is, again, our syllabus and course policies. First thing you're going to see here is the course syllabus for this semester. I'm going to go ahead and open that. One thing I do want you to see is that there is a version date. It's possible that I made a mistake on here and it has a wrong date, or I didn't get something updated correctly. So if you ever see that version change, that's what that means. It basically says that something happened and I made the change to make sure. So just periodically check on that one. I usually, when there is a major change, I send out an email. Most of the time I never have to do that, but there have been a couple semesters like that I have to do that. So just watch that. So this is what the syllabus looks like. So this is the syllabus for this semester. It's going to give you a bunch of information. I'm not going to go through and read this to you. I will say that there are 3 texts that are required. The first one is this Introduction to Mediated Communication, Social Media and Beyond by Westerman, Bowman, and Lachlan. There's also the second one, Internet Communication by Chesbrough, McMahon, and Russett. And then there's what's called the Concise Rules of APA Style. It's a little red book. It is a really easy if you're not used to APA style. If by chance you have the big APA style manual, which is the blue book, you won't need to worry about getting the concise styles. The blue book is much better and has a lot more information. The concise styles is really just good if you're not familiar with some things. From there, you can basically walk through the rest of this. I'm not going to walk you through all of the information that is in here. But again, do make sure that you give yourself enough time to read everything in that syllabus. Below that, there is also some information on netiquette. Then we have a folder down here called Institutional Policies. The Institutional Policies walks you through all the basic policies that we have here at SUNY New Paltz. Some of these are on the syllabus, some of them are not. Also, right here, I have the information for accessibility for any of the technologies that are currently used within this class. So again, make sure you do familiarize yourselves with the basic institutional policies if you have not done so before. So the next folder is the check your grades. Again, it's just going to tell you how to check your grades. Then right below that, there is a take your quiz. This is your first quiz for the class. You do have to take this quiz. This is a orientation quiz. Basically, all of the information that is in here, now predominantly the information on the syllabus, you are going to be quizzed on. So you do have to have read all this stuff, and then you're going to take that quiz to demonstrate that you have read it and you understand what the expectations are for this course. And again, you can take that quiz multiple times to make sure that you understand how this class is set up. The last thing we have here is the support folder. In the support folder, we have 2 types of support. We got academic support. I will open that one. Academic support talks about things like the tutoring center. Are you ready for online learning? Writing and studying resources. Let's join your truth library, how to do research, so some of those types of things. Whereas the technical support is exactly like it sounds. It's going to be support for how you handle some of the technical issues. If you need academic computing, if there's more questions about Blackboard tutorials for students, hawk sites, computer literacy, all of that stuff can be found right there in that technical support. So let's go ahead and look at the next hyperlink here, which is this one right here, which is the textbook. Basically what it is here, these are the chapters. I do have right now the chapter from the first edition of the book uploaded here for you so that you can read it. Again, you are using the second edition because you can no longer get the first edition. I also have the first chapter for internet communication. Basically, the reason why I've given you the first chapters here is it allows you to have at least 1 week, because this is what we're covering this week, to be able to get access to your books. Now, as soon as this week is over, you will need to have access to your textbooks, because after that point, I will no longer have these uploaded for you. So you are expected to, by the following Monday, have all of your textbooks in hand for this class. So that'll be Monday the 29th. Make sure that you have all of your textbooks ready to go. So let's look at how a general week is set up. So here is our first week. You're going to notice it is January 22nd to January 28th. It's going to talk about what the readings are for that week. So in this case, we have Westerman et al. Chapter 1 and Chesbrough et al. Chapter 1. It has a quiz that's going to cover the information in those chapters. Now you're going to see a couple of videos here. Now these, for some reason, the way they get uploaded end up being blank, but all you have to do is click here on the little play thing and the video is going to
If you're like most people, computers are becoming a part of your life.
So there are a series of 4 of those right there. It's just some introductory videos. Then we have a wonderful interview here with the man who invented the internet, or the World Wide Web, I should say, Tim Berners-Lee. Then we have a documentary here that's specifically about the World War of the Worlds. We have the actual original recording for War of the Worlds and a documentary about it. So please make sure you give yourself time. And again, then you're going to see right here there is a discussion question. In the internet age, could War of the Worlds happen? Why or why not? Really spend some time thinking about that question once you've gone through that material. And then there's another discussion question, which is called Clippy's Revenge, which is all about what is some people consider to be the most villainized animated character in history, Microsoft's Clippy. So you'll see that everything is laid out very simply in here. And if you go down to the second week, which we'll show you just a second week to show you again, starts off with what the readings are. You have your quiz. It's going to have some more interviews, and then there's a discussion question. And for the most part, that's how the entire course is set up. Now, one of the things that you're going to have in this course are reaction papers. Now, I'm going to click on the reaction papers here, but one thing I want you to notice for the reaction papers is you get to pick which weeks you're going to write your reaction papers. I do not assign them. However, your reaction papers must cover information from the week that you submit them. So you are reacting to information from the readings or the videos from that week and only that week. So let's say that it's the 5th week of class. I can't go back and write about something from chapter 1. At that point, if we go down here and go through the 5th week of class, you'll be writing about, well, chapter 5 in both books. So you, again, the important thing is you only can write about it once you get to that point. There's also a formatting paper here. I will go ahead and open this just so that you can see what it looks like. This is designed to basically be right up there with APA style. Please use this, as you can see here in all letters. This is not optional. Do not change this. This is designed to be used exactly as it says. When it says type running head here, you double click and you will replace just the part that says type it here. When it says title of paper goes here, you put a title there. That's not the title of the paper. I've had students do that in the past. Now, these right here are called headings. Do not change the headings. Do not delete the headings. These are the basic things that line up with, if you go down here, the rubric for all of the discussion papers. So to make sure that you are hitting on all the parts that you have to hit on within a given paper, these headings are there for you. Now, one thing just to be really clear about is the second thing is a description of a communication situation. This is a specific communication situation. So do not talk about things in generalities. That is one of the biggest mistakes. Also, it needs to be specifically about computer-mediated communication. So it should not be about you sitting up late at night watching television or you talking on the phone. This is specifically about computer-mediated communication. And then lastly, you're going to analyze that. You are required to, for any of these papers, have at least one peer-reviewed external research article that you cite in your papers. You can have more, but you are required to have at least one. And again, here you'll notice there are 4 of these. You have to write 4 of them over the course of the semester. I do strongly recommend that you write one of these in the first few weeks of class, and do not write the first one and the second one back to back, because this gives me the chance to read that paper, respond to that paper before you write the second one. That way, if there are any problems in the first one, I can help you get those fixed before you move on to that second paper. The last thing that we have in this class is a final project. Again, here is the rubric for the final project. I know it's a little bit vague, and that's because when we get into these final projects, there's a wide range of different things that students have done. There are some sample projects up here that you can look at to kind of get an idea. But as you can see, every week is designed to be pretty straightforward. The class, the way that it is designed over here on the left-hand side, is designed to make your life very, very easy when it comes to knowing what is going to be happening in a given week. I look forward to working with all of you over the course of the next 15 weeks.